Thank you very much again for everybody to making the time to join us. We have a special speaker today. I'd like to say she has quite a long bio, but I will maybe read out a short version of it. And I've known Elaine personally as well for the past few years. It's been an honor to know her professionally and personally, as she's been a role model to a lot of families and also entrepreneurs. And specifically mompreneurs, that its actual term. It's an entrepreneur that happens to be a mom, so she supports a lot of mompreneurs throughout Canada and locally in BC through a variety of activities that she organizes. So Elaine Tan Comeau knows the ups and downs of being a mom entrepreneur. She launched her product line and company from off of her kitchen table 2 days after her third baby was born. So that was a great timing, right, Elaine? She went from being a school teacher to accidentally inventing a children's product to CEO and founder of one of the Dragon's Den's favorite pitches, Easy Daisies, which incited a bidding war among all 5 dragons. Also winner of Kevin Harrington's pitch tank. She's been featured in Forbes, Maclean's, CBC, Fox, CTV, Canadian Business Magazine, and the Financial Post, and to name a few. Elaine was also awarded the 2014 Canadian Mompreneur of the Year Award, 3-time nominee for the RBC Women of Influence Award, Chamber of Commerce Award for Excellence in Business, and just published her 3rd article in a university textbook, Educational Psychology. Her company, Easy Daisies, has won 13 awards and was announced as one of the top 2018 most innovative companies by Small Business BC. Elaine loves supporting women in business through speaking on stages, through her podcast, Elaine's Kitchen Table. By the way, you should check it out, The Business of Real Life. As a leading ambassador of the Western Canada chapter of Mompreneur Canada, and through her best-selling book, which was launched just recently, last year, Sell Your Passion. Elaine's honored to have opportunity to give back to the local community. So we're definitely honored to have you, Elaine, on our call today.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here. I can't wait to get to know all of you and meet you all. I would love to find you on social media. So if some way, somehow you can write on a piece of paper like I did. I don't know if Beck, if you can screen capture once everybody has written on a piece of paper, because if you find me, I would love to follow you. So this is just on Instagram at Easy Daisies or Elaine Tan Comeau. And I will definitely follow you. And if I have permission from Chris and Seth and yourself, I'd love to screen capture this after so I could tag you and just give you all a shout out. I would love to do that as well. So Becca, I don't know when I'm allowed to talk, but you can let me know.
Was that we'll definitely share all of the links, and people would love to follow you if they are not already doing so. With that, I'd like to give the mic virtually to Elaine Tan Comeau. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. I know that it is a busy time and a very unprecedented time, and I am just grateful for being a part of your meeting today. So thank you so much for your time. I know Beck shared a little bit about me, and thank you. That was very generous, and I adore Beck. He is a wonderful person to have known through personally and in working with him. I have told Beck this before, that business is not about anything else but about people. It is about people, and it is the relationships that you establish with your customer, your client, the community, if they are not your customer, to establish that relationship. Because of your relationship with that individual, that is why they will come back to you. And I I was a former school teacher, so I didn't have business background. But in my short life of being in business, which is about 10 years as an entrepreneur, I can probably count on two hands how many decent people that I can actually refer. And that's pretty sad because I'm in the toy industry, the children industry, and there are very few businesses that I could say I would go back to because of that, of the loyalty that I want to give to that person, like Beck. Beck, you're just a very great person, and I'm honored to know you. So I just wanted to say that about Beck. But I was a school teacher, and I, like many other small businesses, we start out as a business because we are fulfilling a need. And that is a very good thing, because if there wasn't a need, you wouldn't have a business. And I was a school teacher, and I fall in love with my class every year because I love teaching. And so much so that my grade 2 class sang at my wedding. That's how much I love my kids. And now they're old and they find me on Twitter, and it's strange, but I adore teaching, and I miss it. I miss it very much. But I have the honor of working with adults now. And so I knew that a lot of things were working against my kids as a school teacher. When 1 in 4 come in with anxiety issues, 1 in 6 with learning disabilities, 1 in 2 from broken homes. And when parents started asking me to create a daily visual schedule to help their kids get out the door faster in the morning, of course I would. And I drew every single illustration so simple enough that kids who are not readers can understand and feel confident with their day. And that's how Easy Daisies was started, because I thought maybe if they've been asking me to make these for free for years and years, there might be a need for a product. But if there is a good idea, often it's created. So I did do the research to see if there was something out there already before I started. And so there wasn't a product out there that was a daily visual schedule. And so I saved up by selling crafts and tutoring, and saved up that first $1,400 that I needed to launch my first product. And I did launch it 2 days after Naomi, our third child, was born, because why not, right? Why not? That's probably a good time. And so that is how Easy Daisies started. And it was a blessing that it somehow became the #1 back to school must-have in Parents Magazine right away. Our little townhouse looked like Costco. We had 11 4x4 pallets in our townhouse, and it was a little bit crazy. And but we all started out somewhere, and it was a crazy experience to go on Dragon's Den. And to keep that very short, we all had bronchitis when we went. My 2.5-year-old, she threw up all over the floor when we got to the studio. So those are things you will never see, although I thought for sure they were going to show that, because they would find something like that to put on Dragon's Den. We did Inside a Bidding War. We chose Jim Treliving and Kevin O'Leary to be our partners. Everybody always asks, why didn't I choose Arlene? She didn't want any other partners. I love Arlene. But I knew that when you go and you meet with investors, you do your background research on your investors so that you know what they're bringing to the table as well. And they are all incredible people, because they all started from scratch. They all started from the ground up. And I so respect that about each of those dragons. Kevin O'Leary, we did buy him out on December 29, 2017. So he is no longer my partner. Just Jim Treliving of Boston Pizza is our existing partner. And so it has been a roller coaster ride, and it has been a blessing. So I have done, having Jim and Kevin as partners has been very interesting, because they're very opposite from each other. From the beginning, Kevin was very much all about licensing and making money from licensing, because his strategy is very smart. you can't do it all. So you're not good at everything. So find a partner who is good at what you are not good at. And so I did license Easy Daisies twice over the last 6 years. And actually I have finished that and I've taken it back on. And so Gentle Living's theory is to do it all yourself. And I respect that as well, so that you understand every aspect of your business. So I started that way, and I'm actually back to that route right now. And I just, I know I can't see some of you because you're probably working, and I have your beautiful avatar and image there. But for those of you that I can see, can you show me your left pointing finger? Left pointing finger, I know, right? Brain work. Very good. Left pointing finger. Excellent. And can you just touch your nose with that left pointing finger? You are all very talented. I am not screen capturing this at this moment, but I want to say that for an entire month of May in 2018, I tried to do that every morning, touch my nose with my left finger, because I was unable to. And my life was abruptly interrupted on April 25th of 2018 when I had a stroke. And I did lose the left side, a lot of my function, my left side function. So I take nothing for granted, because I couldn't believe that doing something as simple as touching your nose with your left finger was something that I could not do. And there are so many lessons that I have learned over these past 2 years that have helped me to come up with some strategies that I'm going to share with you right now. And it is a crazy time where many of us are working remotely. Just by a show of hands, just indicate to me by raising your hand if you are working from home. Okay, thank you. So for those who are working from home and those who are still going to work, I wish you and your family good health and much happiness and just a lot of safety. And I want to share with you how to keep calm. And when I say keep calm, I'm actually sharing it as an acronym. So calm is 4 letters that stands for create, adjust, lighten, and make. So I'm going to share strategies with you right now to help your business and to help your kids if you have children at home, based on how to keep calm. So again, it's create, adjust, lighten, and make. So when I talk about create, I'm talking about 3 parts. So first of all, I'd say if you're working from home, create a workspace. And why create a workspace is because when you create a workspace, you are allowing your brain to have a mental shift in mindset that you are going to work. Not just going to work as in physically going somewhere to work, but you're actually telling your brain, I am actually working right now. I am sitting in a place that is just for work. And that is what you want to do. And you will be so much more productive. And the same goes for changing your clothes. Get out of those pajamas. And I'm wearing a dress for you right now. I did not wear a dress an hour ago, but it puts your mindset into professionalism, into work mode. And you want to do that for your kids as well. So if you have kids who are homeschooling, doing school in distance learning, you want to create a workspace for them as best as you can. And like right now, ours is a kitchen table. And so it cannot stay their workstation all day long, because then it won't seem like a workstation to them. So when it is mealtime, we clear it off. And when their work is on there, it is work time. So create a workspace, create work hours. Now, why I say this is because you need to allocate productivity, because your day can fill up so quick. And I'm not talking about Netflix. I'm talking about, there are many things to do, like that mountain of laundry and the dishes. And, you know, I'm a foodie. I could bake all day if I really wanted to, but I shouldn't, because I do have work to do. So when you allocate time to work, and you can, if you have children and your spouse at home, you can even put something as a symbol of when you have this out. It means don't disturb me because I am focused on work. I have a work call. I am working unless someone is bleeding or we need to go to emergency. Do not disturb me for this moment. And so that's why you want to create work hours so that you have productivity, which is so important. Otherwise, and I always share with the women that I meet with that you want as an entrepreneur, we often have it backwards, right? We often put 65% of our time in operations, and then we split the rest of the time between marketing and sales. We need to flip that upside down so that we're focused on sales, and then marketing and operations should be that 25%, because we can be very busy doing things that do not make or generate income. So you want to flip it so that you are going to give yourself 2 hours of income generating work time in that morning if you can, and then fill up the rest of the time with the operations and everything else that has to be done. So if you could focus on that and say, okay, I'm going to follow up with these 15 people, these 10 people, these 5 people, whatever it is, you will feel that you have done something if you spent time on generating income. Because, right, we all have had those days where we spend fully just on operations and feel like we have done nothing. So let's flip it upside down. And my last of the create, so create a workspace, create work hours, is to create a schedule. And yes, I am all about schedules, being the Easy Daisy's daily visual schedule lady. And why you want to create a schedule for you as the adult who is working is because it gives you a peace of mind. It helps you to have less waste of time. It gives you more productivity. For children, it helps kids. Studies will show that children as young as preschool age benefit from visual schedules because they become more independent and more cooperative in event transitions. Pardon me. And why I say that is we've all seen a child in a meltdown. And you would have a meltdown too if I just came over and grabbed you off your chair and shoved you in the car and say, we're going to grandma's. But if I gave you a 5-minute heads up and say, hey, in 5 minutes, we're going to go see grandma, or in 5 minutes, we're going to go to Starbucks. You have that moment to understand that there's going to be an event shift, an event transition. So children need that as well. And there's nothing better than a visual indicator because 85% of learning for all people, especially children, is done visually. So when you have a visual, you can see it. And sorry, I happen to have, so this is like an Easy Daisy's one. And how the Easy Daisy's one works is the tasks go from to do to done. And that kinesthetic move is for kids to feel like they got a pat on the back. It's how we feel as adults when we cross off a to-do list. I am a list person. I add things onto my list that I have done so I could cross them off because I do like that feeling of crossing something off, and it shows that I am being productive and getting things done. And so having a visual schedule is all about being consistent, and consistency is key. And I cannot say that enough. In business, consistency is key. And I can go on and on about that and talking about social media marketing, how important it is to be consistent. I do want to hear what your business is after. And so we can talk about how we can work together and talk about social media marketing. And marketing is so important in social media right now because that's going to take me actually into my next point. So A is for adjust. We need to adjust to new ways of communication. So for kids, they do need to socialize. So there are so many studies right now that show that socializing on video games is where kids need to be right now. And it's incredible. I love Minecraft. And I can go on about games like that and socialization. It's very different than when I was a child. But we too need to find new ways to communicate and adjust your communications, your ways of communication. So sending out more newsletters, starting a newsletter, being more visible on platforms where your customers are. Where are your customers? That's why we need to know who your avatar is. Is your avatar business to business? Is it an end user, a family? Is it educators? Who is your avatar? So know your avatar so you know where they are present. Because if you say, oh, I'm not a Facebook person, but if your customer is a woman in between the ages of 30 and 50, you might want to be on Facebook. So you want to think, where is my customer? Then I might need to be there as well, in a non-stalking kind of way. But A is for adjust. So adjust to new ways of communicating and adjust your offering. So if you think, okay, what am I offering? Is it a service, most likely? Is it a product? Is it a venue? What is my offering? So now you want to think, well, this is a very interesting time where people have to stay home. So how am I going to offer anything to them? Now what you are going to do is think, what is my expertise that I can offer? You are all experts in your field. No one knows or does what you do. So think of how your expertise can be of benefit to your client, me. So what can I say to Elaine, who is a mom, a working mom, has 3 children. My husband's also an entrepreneur. What is it that you can offer me? I love Burnaby. I was a school teacher in Burnaby for 14 years. I lived in Burnaby. I live in Coquitlam right now, but I love Burnaby. I love everything about Burnaby. And so I'm also a foodie. And I love hotels. So what can you offer me? So right now you're trying to be creative in your offerings. You're saying, well, you know what? I know all the restaurants, the best restaurants for families in Burnaby. So I'm going to create the top 10 places that once the COVID-19 isolation is over, these are the top 10 places you need to visit. And in fact, I'm going to partner with one of them and offer a gift card. Now, whatever your product or service is, you might also want to offer that, a gift certificate to what you offer, a gift card to what you offer, because people will still spend money. Because why? Because it's called hope. We all have hope. And we are all excited to get out there and spend money on what you want me to do, because you are the expert and you're going to say, hey, Elaine, don't go there because I know the top 5 or 3 places you should go since you're a foodie. If you have children, you should definitely visit the Burnaby Village Museum for this. So whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it. And that's what you want to share. So adjust your offering, adjust to new ways of communicating, and adjust to new strategies. And when I say new strategies, I'm talking about making your business shareable. And what I'm saying here is, if you had a product, and you often, if you had a product, you might go do a demo somewhere for your product. And you have a service, and perhaps you go somewhere and you demo your service, or it's a hotel, it's a restaurant, it's Metrotown, and people can't come there yet right now. So do something that is shareable so that other people, get people to talk about your business. And that's why I want you to share your expertise. And don't be shy saying, I don't know, I have nothing to offer. Yes, you do. Absolutely you do. It's not selling, but you are sharing a benefit. You are sharing wisdom. You are sharing some great ideas that I now want to reshare with my friends, with my community. And that's what you want to think of right now, tonight, if possible, or when you are putting that 25% of your day into a marketing strategy. Think of shareables. Like, how am I going to get people to talk about my business? I'm going to create one incredible post, whether it's on Instagram, LinkedIn, social, Facebook, that I know my avatar is going to love, and he or she is going to reshare. So to get people talking about your business. For L, so I'm talking about lighten. So lighten your expectations, but don't lower them. So when you are working now, whether it's from your desk at home, your kitchen table at home, or at your office, you cannot expect to do what you did last month. But you are going to do less, but make them count. Never ever lower your expectations, never lower them, but lessen them. So that instead of saying, okay, I'm going to close 5 accounts today, I'm going to close 2 because these other businesses are closed and they aren't there. But I'm going to work on these 2 and I'm going to do a really good job at it. And that's what you want to do. So it's whether it's connecting with a client or someone that there's no better client than your existing clients. And I want to say that again. There's no better client than your existing clients, because there are so many studies that show the amount of money that is spent on acquiring a new client compared to how little it costs to make your current client happy. Because when you make your current client happy, they are going to share by word of mouth how awesome you are. They are going to be a repeat customer, and they are going to be consistent and loyal and faithful and contagious. And that is exactly what you want. So don't worry about acquiring new clients sometimes, like in this week, next week. Think of how you connect with your current clients. And I'm probably jumping ahead here. So lighten your expectations, but don't lower them. And same for your children, right? They aren't going to do school for 7 hours a day in your kitchen. And the government has already released a sanction that if they are in elementary school, they are supposed to do 1 to 2 hours of schooling per day. If they are in middle school, they're supposed to do 2 to 3 hours a day. If they're in high school, they're supposed to do 3 to 4 hours a day. So we just have to remember that and not say, hey, school goes from 9 to 4 or 9 to 3. And no, can you imagine your poor child sitting there? No, just as what the government said, 1 to 2 hours for elementary school, 2 to 3 for middle school, and 3 to 4 for high school. So L, we've covered L. Oh, no, we haven't. Okay. So I said, lighten your expectations, but don't lower them. And the other L is to lighten each other's loads by having partnerships. Partnerships are very important at this time. And why I say that is because the hashtag that is so popular right now is hashtag we are in this together. And we are in survival mode, in family mode, in small business mode, in national mode. We are in this together. So think of how your customers are feeling right now. Your customer is in the mindset of need, not want. So they are in a need mindset, not a want mindset. So I would love for you to be creative and think of someone you could partner with, whether they are on this screen right now or a business that you know of, that you can think, okay, how would I be able to partner with this customer? With this other business. Be creative. And then together think, what do our customers need right now? Not want, because everybody wants to go do something, but they can't. So they're in need mode. And I'm not talking about needing toilet paper. I'm talking about what else do they need, right? Perhaps they need a future vacation. So perhaps Beck might say with Alice and say, hey, let's see if we could team up together and offer gift cards together that we are going to do as a giveaway, because we have a hotel in Burnaby and Metrotown is right there. And we can do a joint partnership. Maybe there's a restaurant that's close by and you could do a triple partnership. Because people are pretty stressed right now. They would love to win something that's going to give them relaxation later, right? And they are going to share your posts and they are going to like your posts or whatever you need them to do. And so think of what it is that they need, right? They need de-stressing. They need humor. They need something for their kids. So if it's a future camp that maybe you have a camp that you offer, or a tour, or a meal at your restaurant, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be in the future. If yours is a restaurant, it's something they can enjoy now. They can order takeout. So there's so many ways to be creative on that, and having partnerships, right? It is about helping each other and working together and seeing how your audience could benefit from what I have to offer, and my audience could benefit from what you have to offer. So let's work together. And if nothing else, we'll grow our awareness of your business, right? It starts there. It starts with awareness before it comes to a sale. So M is make. So it's make time to connect with your team. Make time to connect with your customers, and make time for self-care. And I think it is Matt Mullen, I can't remember his name, Matt Mullenweg, my husband's saying over there. He's the founder of WordPress, and he's talking about working remotely. And instead of calling it working remotely, he calls it distributed workforce. And that is what we are right now. We are a distributed workforce. And so it doesn't change our hat. It's going to be the new reality, is what I actually think it is, the distributed workforce. So isolation is not good, and finding ways to connect and remembering to schedule time to connect with team members, with someone else in your profession, a mentor. Connect, because it's amazing how we can learn every day, and we cannot stop learning every day. We must learn every day, because it keeps us growing. And making mistakes every day is even better, because it means that you went outside of your comfort zone, and you learn so much from picking yourself up. And never be embarrassed to do that. My kids have seen me cry. They have seen me be frustrated. They've seen me tell them my problem or my failure, because I do not want my children to think that life is perfect, that things have to be perfect, because life is not like that at all. And it is so great to take risks. It is so great to make mistakes. And so I encourage you to share your mistakes with your kids and be excited about it. I think it was the founder of Spanx, and she was sharing that in growing up, her dad asked one question every dinner with full joy. He would say, "Hey guys, tell me one mistake you did today." And you know what? She grew up with that, so she was never afraid to try new things. And as a school teacher, I see so many children afraid to try new things because they somehow think that saving face is more important than growing intellectually and growing in your self-esteem and growing in so many levels. So let's teach our children and ourselves that it is great to make mistakes. And I have made many, many mistakes. I'm very trusting, and I have lost, I'm thinking of one distributor in France who people will say to me, "Oh, Elaine, you're too kind, you're going to take advantage of." And I never understand that when they say that, they actually end up doing that. And so I remember this distributor in France who wrote to me for a year and a half before I decided to work with him, because I didn't feel I was ready to work internationally yet. And so for a year and a half, he wrote to me and he said, "You know, we've been in communication for a year and a half. I think you can trust me." And so he started sending me pictures of his 4-year-old son. I sent Purdy's chocolate to his son, and then he placed a very large order, which I did manufacture for him. And the short story of the long is he never paid for his order, which is about $10,000 US, and it was my fault because I trusted him. He gave a small payment in the beginning, and then right when the product was on a boat to get to France, he wrote to me to cancel the order. And he had said that one of his other distributors went bankrupt, which affects him and his family, but it would help his family if I did send the product anyways and give him net terms. So I should always trust your gut, not your heart. My heart was saying, yes, help his family. And my gut said, this does not feel right. But I listened to the thumping organ in the center of my chest, and I did ship that shipment out to him. So that is gone, and that was maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago. And so we have to trust our gut and not listen just to our heart, but you have to go with your gut, because it is about knowing the integrity of a person, and don't underestimate how smart you are. And I want to say that is why it is important to connect with people and use this time to make those connections with your team, with your customers, and make time for self-care. And you know what? If you don't have your health, you can't do your work. If you don't have your health, you can't be there for your family. And I remember when I was, when I did have my stroke, I was in the hospital. They had transferred me to a different hospital because they said I was too young to have a stroke. I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have high cholesterol. So they shipped me off to Royal Columbian, and where they kept me for 8 days and did all these other tests, and discovered that I actually had something called a patent form ovale, which is a hole in between the wall of my atrium of my heart, and which allowed the blood clots to go straight to my brain instead of being filtered in my heart. So it was actually my second stroke, and I would have never have known any of that. But when I was in the hospital, one of the lessons I learned is that we need to put our time and energy where our heart is. And what I mean by this, by putting our time and energy into where our heart is when you put your family first and you make that evident in your work, you will draw the right people you want to work with. And I want to say that again. Core values is very important. Whether you are hiring somebody, choosing a future partnership, a future investor, a client that you are going to work with, they're looking at you as well and wondering if your core values are aligned with theirs. And it is very important. And I remember that when I was in the hospital, there was a company, I had all these things coming at me at once. I was in the midst of shipping out a test order to one of the largest mass retailers in the USA. And even in the hospital, I was telling my husband that he had to finish it for me, that he had to make sure all the T's were crossed and I's were dotted, because this was very important. And so Easy Daisies is, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I remember there was one company I wanted to work with a couple of years ago, and I emailed them for 8 weeks. I emailed them, and they never wrote back until 8 weeks later. And the buyer from this company said, absolutely, let's have a meeting. And he gave me this date. I ran to the calendar. I was so excited. I put it down on the calendar, and he said, and I looked at the calendar and I thought, oh no, I can't do it because it's my son's grade 1 and end of the year concert. And I have to be at my son's concert. So with all dread and fear, I wrote back to this buyer saying, I am so sorry, I cannot make this date because it's my son's end of the year concert. And I was very honest. I told him why. And I was terrified that he was just going to say, well, forget it then, because, Anyways, he wrote back right away and he said, you know what, enjoy your son's concert and call me right after. And that's exactly what I did. I went to the concert, and then I sat in the car at that school parking lot, and I called Ontario, and I spoke to this buyer. And his very first question to me was, how was your son's concert? Now, this is a man I wanted to work with because he knew family was important. And I'm honored, so honored to say that Easy Daisies has been a bestseller at Staples Canada for 6 years since that phone call. When I was in the hospital, and there was this company that I had to send out this test order to, I didn't have access to a laptop for days. I couldn't type anyways. But when my husband finally got a laptop to me, I wrote to this company, and their one and only question to me was, will you meet the deadline? And it spoke volumes. I mean, it terrified me, but it spoke volumes. And yes, I did meet that deadline, but it's not a company that I am working with anymore. And so you want to, when I'm saying be creative in what you are putting out there right now in your offerings, be so genuine and show what is important to you, because you will be amazed how many people will share what is important to you because it's important to them. And when that's aligned, they're naturally going to want to share it. And that is the end of my CALM. I do want to say that I have lots of free resources if you do have children on my website at easydaisies.com. And I have all these free resources. I even created a 42-page book for you with activities and recipes. But if you don't want to even do those things, there's all these great links below. There's Oxford Owl, which is put out by Oxford University and Oxford Press, which has lesson plans and activities for your kids at different age groups. I think that one is for age 3 to 11. There is Vancouver Aquarium is on there. So I have all these links so you don't have to go all over the place. They're all on the one on easydaisies.com called homeschool /homeschool. And you can just click on the link, and there's actually live webcam so you can see the otters all day long if you want, or jellyfish all day long if you want. And then there's another great link that I have there that gives you virtual tours to 12 incredible museums around the world. So if you want to go check out the Louvre one day, or the Smithsonian Museum one day, and they could just sit there, and it's an audio tour. It's incredible. I don't know if you've ever gone to the Rock, that prison off the coast in San Francisco, and if you ever done the audio tour, it's incredible. So it's just like that, but right in front of you on your screen for your kids to. The tours are amazing. It's not just museums. You can walk and get a grand tour of the Great Wall of China. In Yosemite. It's incredible. And so there's all these different sites that are on that page, and it's all educational. National Geographic has a great site there too. So I have all the links right there for you. My husband and I, we spent about 6 days compiling it together for you. So it's just a gift to help families who need something for their child. And I hope you enjoy that. And I am open. I'm sorry if I talk so long. I can talk forever. So I'm just gonna stop talking right now.
Elaine, thank you very much. I think we would love to have you here for hours if everybody can or have the opportunity to do so, because obviously a lot of people, a lot of us can relate to you as a mother in a big family with 3 kids, and a loving husband and supporting husband, and also an entrepreneur who have started from scratch in your kitchen table, on your kitchen table. So, a lot of the things that you have talked, relates to us. Obviously, in a business world or even personal relationship, the relationships that last the longest, if you have honesty, right, in that relationship, and also you have interpersonal core values that match or come close to each other, as we are all different, and the passion, right, to each other, or on a business level or personal level. So definitely, I think a lot of people would have some questions. So I'd like to give this opportunity to the audience today, and introduce yourself briefly, and the organization or the region that you represent, and direct your question directly to Elaine if you'd like.
Beck, may I ask your permission, everyone, if I could take a screen capture of you right now? Would that be okay? Thumbs up if that's okay. Okay, I'm going to take a screen capture here. First, the light is not good, so I'm just going to rotate you a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to do one more. I'm so sorry. Of course, my husband is a professional photographer, so he's gonna laugh at me incredibly. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I would love to get to know you. So please do tell me your name and your company.
Maybe I'll go first. It's Alice here from Metropolis at
Yeah.
Metrotown. Thanks, Elaine, for the detailed strategy. I really enjoyed listening to that. One question I had was especially more so for people who have limited space at home. That's a big issue in a lot of, like, obviously Vancouver. If you live in an apartment, for example, and you have two working parents from home, so and kids, how do you manage to carve that workspace? Because I know with space being limited in an apartment setting, how would you be able to even do that? Because with phone calls, for example, and stuff like that, and the kids running around, the space is kind of limited, right? Like there's the bedroom or two bedrooms and maybe a living room, and think like 600-700 square foot space. How would you be able to carve that effectively?
Absolutely. And I think this is where the blessing of creativity comes in. And how many times have I done a conference call standing inside a pantry and then with 3 kids banging on the door, and then I'd crack it open and throw out some Rice Krispie squares to buy myself a few more minutes. But being creative is perfect, right? Like this is when you create your workspace. This is your chance to create that corner office you've always wanted if you have that opportunity. If you need to use the bathroom to have that privacy for your conference call, that is what you have to do. And you know what? People understand right now. There is no embarrassment. Everybody understands, right? What went viral? Was it 2 years ago, where that gentleman was having a call with I think it was a British news, national news, and then you see like his beautiful office backdrop, and then all of a sudden a little baby comes in on one of those wheelie things, right? Have you seen that? Raise your hand, right? And then you see his wife like duck in and pull that child out. And what's cute is they actually did a remake of that with a woman being on the news, and just to add up to that, really, you have to look it up because it's hilarious, because you see when it's a parody of a woman who is dressed like presidentially, and she's speaking to the news, national news, and you see that she starts feeding a baby with a bottle, and then she's making dinner while she's doing the news, and then the bomb squad comes in and she diffuses a bomb while still not breaking a sentence with the news. So it's quite hilarious. And of course I showed that to the mom entrepreneurs because, you know, we got this, we can all do it. And so be creative. If it means pulling out a TV table to just have that 2x2, 2x3 space, because sometimes you don't want to have to pack up everything, that's what you're going to do. And if it means, you know, you're going to use your bed because you need a lot of space because you have to spread things out, then it means throwing on a bed sheet so that you can like put it all together and put it away and then bring it back out. So it means just being creative. And if there are 2 of you working from home, and my husband's going to hate this, but there he is. He's like right next to me. And so you find ways to be creative, and you will have to respect each other's space. And I have 3 kids who are working off the same table right now. And so you can find things that are portable. It means if you have to put your office in a box and bring that out every morning because you have scheduled that you are going to work between 8 and 12, then you are going to bring that box out then, and you're going to put it away because you don't want to see it all the time, because then you don't have office hours, and then you are going to find yourself working all day long and not being productive. So nothing wrong with putting it away. I hope that helps, Alice.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And anybody else who would like to jump in here and address the question to Elaine?
And please feel free to find me on social media. And if you think there's a way that we could partner, I'd be so happy to do that as well. So I am on Facebook and Instagram. My following on Instagram is not as large as my Facebook one, but I know that the families that follow me would probably love to know more about Burnaby and what you have to offer. So let me know.
Hi, Elaine, it's Connie. I want to say I have 4 pages of notes from all the great messages and strategies that you put in together. So thank you so much. And I think as a mom, my question, I guess, as an entrepreneur as well is like, how do you find time to go out there and network and look at other opportunities and partnerships with individuals? Or do you go out and do networking, and how do you figure time out to do that?
Okay, thank you. Absolutely. So networking is a tricky word. I like saying connecting, and I know it's just semantics. But so finding opportunities to connect. Connie, what is your business, first of all?
I'm an events and meeting strategist, so I like to help people plan events from A to Z and just really build that connection from a personal experience and understanding what the vision is from the company and why they're doing it. So
are they corporate events? Are they business events? Are they weddings? Are they family?
The easy thing I can say is I don't do weddings. I do like to do corporate events, because usually with corporate events, my clients know what the vision is, what the mission is. So it's easier for creating a strategy that works versus brides. I don't know. Sometimes they don't know what they want. So I can't work with that.
Absolutely. And that's smart. You are absolutely doing the right thing, because I think a mistake that people do is they think that everybody is their customer, and everybody is not your customer. So when you have a niche, you are right on target. So that is what you want to do, is focus in, and then you know exactly who you're serving. Then you know where to find them. So being a part of this group is brilliant, because and sharing, when you come to groups like this is what you want to do, because you can probably service. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to serve the Lower Mainland, so now you might go to a similar group, but in North Van or in West Van or in New Westminster. And when you attend these meetings, you do need to know your elevator pitch. And I know it's such a cliche to say, but when you do your elevator pitch, often people do it incorrectly because they are talking about themselves. An elevator pitch should be about sharing a benefit to that person who's listening to you, so that they are intrigued to want to ask you, what do you do? Right? Because saying, hi, my name's Elaine and I have a company called Easy Daisies, and no one cares. But if I said, you know what, my name is Elaine and I created a product that helps kids become more independent and cooperative. Now I have someone's interest going, I have kids, I would love for them to be independent and cooperative. So when you go to these events and join groups for networking, you are going to think of how you can help people. When you enter a room thinking, how can I help them? That is exactly when you will grow in your business, is what I think. That you're doing the right thing by coming to groups like this.
Thank you. Thank you, Seth, for inviting me.
Thank you, Seth. And Connie, because you can't go to these groups right now in person, you can find them like this online. And then be ready to know how, when you introduce yourself, don't be shy. Say, hi, my name is Connie. I make life easier for people who don't have time to plan big events, or whatever it is you're going to say. So people are like, oh, now even if they aren't looking for that this moment, they have remembered that's what you do. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elaine. So the next person, please feel free. We'd like to keep it as interactive as possible. So no formality. Yes.
I'm gonna start picking on people. Jennifer, what do you do?
Hi, nice to meet you all. I work at SFU.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I met Seth, because I work with part-time MBA students doing career advising. So your So a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about is super interesting, not only from the perspective of, obviously I like the COM acronym, very helpful for when we're working with students, but also just from an entrepreneurial perspective as well too, because we have a lot of students who are either on that track or interested in going on to that track.
That is awesome. Thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you too.
Yeah, I'll just jump in for a second, and what Jennifer just mentioned. When I was doing my program at SFU, an interesting time frame, much more confused than I was now. But as things like Elaine had talked about, the shared values, and then finding a company, such as Tourism Burnaby, where a lot of it is, importance on family, importance on things that are important. You're essentially your core, right? And I think that was something that was important to me through the process. And I still remember, meeting Jen and doing the career advising. And I mean, it's something that I enjoy. And now that I'm in a different phase, it's always nice different ways that I can give back to SFU BD. I'm always looking for the opportunities like that. So yeah, I'm glad, Jen's here today. Hopefully we can have some of your students join in our future weeks as well. And yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool. So, and I like that what Seth said and what you said is because the more and more students I'm meeting with, it's that values piece that a lot of students that I'm meeting with are struggling with, right? And so to be able to find that values, and some of the stories you shared, Elaine, were just, those are stories that it's important for people to hear and to know that it's out there, and to know how that helps in finding careers that that motivate you and interest you and inspire you.
Yes, and I think it does take time to learn that not every opportunity is actually an opportunity for you, and it's okay to say no. Because it's worse to say yes to the wrong opportunity than to say no and feel and like you need to wait. Waiting is hard, but it's okay to say no. Yes, because I've done my fair share of mistakes, and I will continue to do mistakes. But and I think that's how my podcast came about, was as everybody's sharing mistakes that we each have learned from, so that other people may not need to go through that. But mistakes are okay. Absolutely. I'd love for some of you to be on my podcast, so do connect, find me, and I would love to connect with you.
Thank you very much, Elaine. We really appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable between the conference calls and obviously taking care of the business and the family at the same time. I know how you do it, but I don't know how you do it, but I do follow you on Facebook as well. I just get impressed all the time. But I know you are the real person. You're not an Instagram model that would fake things. For that reason, we really appreciate your insights and the tips that you have shared today.
You're very kind. You're very kind. Yes, we all, yes, life is fun and funny, and we have to remember that. And so when we were filming this morning in our kitchen here for CTV, so it was a pre-recording for tomorrow, you will see that I actually, you're gonna hear first, I actually drop an egg because I don't have all the sensation in my left hand back yet. So I'm like absolutely mortified that I'm hoping they'll edit that out. But yes, if you see me drop an egg on CTV tomorrow, you'll know why, this darn left hand of mine. But I was so mortified because, yeah, you can't edit that out because it happened. So yes, you have to learn to laugh at yourself, and just, life is too short to be so serious, right? And so I'm so honored to have met you all, and I look forward to getting to know you better. So do find me on social media, because I'd love to follow you and see if we can work together. And I'm so honored to have been on this call today. Really honored. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Elaine.
Yeah, thanks, Elaine, for your time. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you very much. Again, just the reminder that our social hour invite for the next week will be sent out shortly. And we do have wonderful speakers like Elaine joining next week, and it will be concentrated on community work, as everybody is, trying to sell as a business, but at the same time, like Elaine is doing, and a lot of local organizations and entrepreneurs and individuals are doing, the best way to sell these days would be by creating a positive impression on your organization and as an individual yourself. So we'll be inviting few people and organizations and businesses that are doing the very same thing, and hopefully it will be valuable to a lot of us.
That's awesome. I'm so impressed that you do this every week. That's incredible.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Elaine.
Thank you again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.